family we're born with and to families we make along the way. To Richmond!
Under pressure.
Ted Lasso Season 2 concluded today. Yes, the Emmy Award-winning series is back, and before I get into this review, it's going to be full of spoilers. You have been warned. At the end of Season 1, the team has been relegated. Roy Kent has retired, Jamie Tart is still gone, and Ted Lasso is there to pick up the pieces. I was obviously excited for this season. If you watched my Season 1 review, I thought the first season of Ted Lasso was one of the best seasons of comedy I've ever seen. I mean, it was damn near perfect. I first want to say that Season 2 of Ted Lasso was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I'll get this out of the way, though. I don't think it's as good as Season 1, but it's still a great follow-up season to one of the best seasons of comedy I've seen in a very long time. I'll just talk about my issues now, just to get them out of the way so we don't have to talk about them anymore, because I'd rather talk about how great this season is. I feel like this season isn't paced as well as the first season, like it doesn't flow as well. Like, I could probably watch the whole first season in one sitting and be absolutely entertained the whole way out. Season 2 has some really great episodes, some of the best in the series. But overall, as a story, I don't think flows as well as the first season. Also, I feel like some things happen kind of quickly. Like Jamie Tart coming back. We'll talk about Jamie Tart in a little bit. But I feel like him coming back to the club happened a little bit too quickly. I know they somewhat foreshadowed it at the end of Season 1, but I thought there was going to be more of a transition of that. Like, he was already done playing soccer by the first episode of Season 2. I thought we were going to get a little bit more of him quitting soccer and then eventually coming back. It seemed very abrupt at first. In the Coach Beard episode, it was fun, I guess, but it just felt out of place. And I know, I read that the creators of the show wanted the season to be like 10 episodes, but Apple TV Plus is like, no, money, we gotta make it 12. So it was legitimately just a filler episode that didn't really progress the plot too much. So I gotta dock a little bit off of my rating for that, even though it's not really the creator's fault. Alright, that's it. Those are my issues. Let's talk about how great the season is, because this season was awesome. There are so many things I loved about this season. There are so many great things that happened this season that I'm not going to be able to talk about everything. This video would be way too long. But the reason I love this season so much is the way to develop our characters and our characters' relationships. Like Jamie Tart, yes, I thought him coming back was somewhat abrupt, but what they did with his character this season was absolutely fantastic. He really grows as a person, and you really start to care about him. You care about everyone in this show. It feels like you're in the locker room with them. Like that one episode where they play Man City, and they get their asses absolutely handed to them. And then they go back in the locker room, and Jamie's dad comes to the locker room, and he starts heckling him. You feel like you're in the locker room because you care about these characters so much. You care about Jamie so much. You're like, dude, fuck this guy, kick his fucking ass. And then when he finally stands up to his dad and he breaks down and Roy Kent gives him that hug, it's just such a powerful and emotional moment that made me choke up. And that's because of how great these characters are, how well they're recognized, how well they're developed. This show is so brilliant with that. As you're watching the show, you really feel like you're part of this family. You get such an emotional attachment to a lot of these characters that you really feel from them when they're in a lot of pain. Like Ted really develops in this season a lot. You learn so much about him. And that has to do with bringing in Dr. Sharon, the team's therapist. And I thought that was an awesome idea, an awesome addition to this show. And she brings out a lot of things about characters that we didn't know. And it makes your emotional connection to them a lot stronger, specifically with Ted. We learn more about Ted and what happened to his dad, which was extremely tragic. I love what they did with Roy Kent. At first, he was a sports analyst. He was just swearing all the time. It was fucking hilarious. But then he realizes that's not what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be a coach. He'd be a great coach. And he is a great coach. I love what they did with him and Keely's relationship. I thought that was wonderful. I love what they did with Sam, how he stood up to those dickhead oil companies and he really stood for something. I love what they did with Rebecca and their relationship. I thought that was very believable. But with Rebecca specifically, I loved everything they did with her. I love the episode where they go to her dad's funeral and they start singing the Rick Roll song. Is that saying that right? I think I'm saying that right. The Rick Roll song. You know, the biggest troll on YouTube ever, but the show somehow made this beautiful and emotional moment that was fucking fantastic. I guess the more I talk about it, I've realized that the season really just develops our characters so much in many different ways. Now let's talk about him. The guy that everyone is talking about online, public enemy number one. Yes, that is Nate. What a dickhead. But I will say this. I absolutely loved the direction they took his character. It's believable. This guy's been stepped on his whole entire life, and Ted finally gives him this boost of confidence, and he's turned into a monster. In a weird way, Ted kills people with kindness, and his kindness makes people better. That's happened throughout this whole show. Except for Nate. His kindness has turned him into a monster. The scene where Nate tells Ted the fuck off is so intense, and I love the fact that Nate is now working for Rupert. Moving forward, we're going to get a master versus apprentice, and I cannot wait for that. Yes, Nate is a dickhead. I absolutely hate him now, but I love the direction they took him. I think it's very believable, and it makes the show way more interesting. Looking back at season 2, they did foreshadow this a lot, that this would happen. It's not like this happened abruptly. So I think it's great, the direction they're taking Nate. Not to rhyme or anything, but I just thought it was a brilliant idea. I cannot wait to see what happens in later seasons with that. Season 2 of Ted Lasso was brilliant and a fantastic follow-up to the damn near perfect first season. I still don't think it's as good as season 1 because it doesn't flow as well as season 1, but it's still excellent. Besides some things happening too quickly for me in the Coach Beard episode, which yes, I know the creators of the show didn't even want to make that episode, but the studio's like, money, 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 you got to make the episode. I still had a lot of fun with this season. My favorite part about this season is that the creators of the show clearly understand these characters and they develop them so well. So well that we somehow gain a stronger emotional attachment to them, which I didn't think was possible. There's so many powerful, deep, and emotional moments throughout this season that really shows why Ted Lasso is one of the best series on television right now. It's hilarious, it's interesting, it gets you in your feels. I absolutely love the direction they took every single one of our characters. Yes, every character, and I cannot wait to see what happens in season 3. I'll give season 2 of Ted Lasso 9 Davy Daves. This really is one of the best shows on television right now. I mean, it's probably the best comedy. It won like every single Emmy. If you've not started Ted Lasso, go watch it. The Apple TV subscription is pretty cheap, and honestly, I would pay that monthly just so I could watch Ted Lasso. It's that good. So, season 2 of Ted Lasso. Let me know what you guys thought of it. If you've seen it, I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Davey Dave's Takes.